Hey there. This is Light Noble Letitia, and I'm your host, Letitia. Welcome back to my YouTube channel. We are back, and we got to get straight into the mess because we are talking about Tyler Perry's Beauty in Black. The saga continues. We are talking about episodes 3 and 4 today. And again, thank you for being here. So don't forget to like, share, comment, and subscribe to my channel. Somebody asked about my little Sugarfoot back here. This is Sugarfoot. He's in the window right now, so he'll make his appearances whenever he feels like it. Um, he likes to be on camera, but doesn't like to be on camera, if you know what I mean. So, he's being demure. But anyway, so we're going into episode 3, which is called The Aftermath. And we start right back where we were, where Kimmy was over at Horace's home, who we now know as Horace, right? And he's telling her, listen, take this money and I'll go check on Rain for you. And so she was like, well, all I need you to do is check on Rain. He said, you can have both. So he recognizes that she has a good heart. And that's why at this point, this is where he introduces himself. So he introduces himself as Horace Bellery, who is the founder of, and co-founder, I guess, of Beauty in Black, the beauty products place. He asked if she had used the hair products, and she said since she was a kid. He tells her, stop using them. They are causing cancer. So that he knows this information, then reveals to her that he actually has prostate cancer, which he sees as basically his karma. So he sends her off in his truck, and she went to go, and he told her he wants to see Angel again, but also that Angel is a thief. This fool stole his watch, and he wants it back. So Kimmy mentioned, she was like, okay, well, just get in touch with me. I'm sure you have my number. And he was like, well, what do you mean by that? Um, this is where basically we figure out that she thinks that he is the head of this ring that she now is a part of. So she all she knows is that he's like the big boss. He's Jules' boss. So she leaves to go confront Angel. And this is where we are met with Angel's baby mama. I do not remember her name. Um, Crazy. How about that? Because we're gonna find out just how crazy she is. But we first introduced to her, she pushes past the woman to go see Angel to confront him about the fact that he took that man's watch, right? And he was like, "So what? I paid for it. I earned it or whatever." So then Kimmy reveals to him, "Listen, this man is Jules's boss. He is the head of this ring, and we cannot mess with him because these people are crazy, are dangerous." So he finally decides he was gonna give up the watch, but then the baby mama tried to step in and say, no, we're not giving it back, no, we're not giving it back. She was like, girl, you do not know these people are crazy, we need to get rid of it, we need to give this watch back. So finally he gives up the watch, and then Angel leaves. So now we're at the hospital where we see our Uncle Norman, who is played by our Uncle Richard Lawson, aka Moses Britton, if you watch the Black Hamptons, aka Evan Johnson, if you watched Saints and Sinners. Okay. So he rushes in to see his wife, who's been told he has a tuxedo on. So he was at some kind of event. But child, he started acting wild. He hollering at everybody, including the doctor and all the nurses. Y'all better save her, whatever. We donated so much money to this hospital. You better save her. So then Jules comes in, acting like he doesn't know anything that's going on, right? So, but he tells Uncle Norman that he will get to the bottom of it. Now, again, he acting like he don't know what's going on. He knows exactly who's in that bed and why they're at the hospital. But we move. Then we get on to the House of Toxicity, aka Roy and Mallory's toxic tales. Try not to cuss. Because we're at their house. Oh my gosh, they are so toxic. I don't know why they're together. Well, we know why, for business. But he's drinking and cussing, and she's slapping up on him and everything. Next thing you know, she tells him to go get dressed or whatever. And then Jules calls Mallory to tell her that it was actually their aunt that they hit, or that was run over. She didn't say that. He didn't reveal that she hit him. He just said, that was your Aunt Ina. Is it Ina or Ina? I don't remember. The aunt. That was run over. Mallory does not give a care, calling the woman old, oh well, basically. That was her attitude. And then it is in this conversation, though, that we find out that Jules is actually in Horace's will. See, this is what this thing is all about. It's always about money. So, anyway, we find out that Jules is in Horace's will. I say, to that. Why is that? Is it because he's been their long time security? Or is it possible that that is that man's son? I didn't say it, but okay, we'll see. Let's just keep moving on. We go to the motel then where Kimmy is there, and child Body knocks on the door. She opens the door, and Body and Dagger show up, promptly beat her ass, and then just to keep her quiet, basically, but also to teach her a lesson. Body thinks that Kimmy wants to take her place, like as the bottom B. Child, Kimmy don't want your job. She don't even want her own job. So why does she think that she's trying to take her place? You know what? What is her name? What is her name? That Body. She is just an insecure tail bully. She's the bullying ass bully. Very insecure girl. Get yourself together. Anyway, moving on. We are then introduced to Aunt Olivia. So Norman is sitting in this church, right? I guess he's praying, and this woman comes up and enters, and she with her little cute silver bob, and she comes in and said, "The church is closed." And then she says, "Norman, oh my goodness." So, basically, he told her that about his wife, and immediately accuses her two sons and threatens to destroy the family. Okay, now Olivia, he then leaves. Olivia calls Horace, but to no avail because the butler was like, "He ain't here." Clearly there's some kind of something going on there. So she heads over to her son's house, Charles, right? Just to get some answers. And when she arrives, Charles is butt booty naked and giving all the pumps in the rub to some dude. Okay, there was no curtains, no nothing. And then she comes in. This fool keeps pumping. He don't care that she's standing there. She had to slap him upside the head and tell him to stop before he actually backed up off this dude. So anyway, he tells the guy to leave. She had to get a little gangster on him. Told the dude to leave, whatever. Then she confronts Charles about the aunt. And he was like, "I don't know what you're talking about." He said, "I didn't drive last night," or whatever. So she rushes off to go to that garage that has all of their luxury cars, and then she's checking the cars to see if she sees any damage or anything. She didn't see anything, but she told him to go ahead and get dressed because he needs to be at the board meeting promptly. Okay, so we go back to the hospital, and child, why is Kimmy at the hospital again? Now this time she is under the guise of her being hurt, since Body and Dagger just came in, tapped on that tail. But somehow she sneaks into the area where Rain is. Now I don't even know how that's possible, because I guess it's possible because Rain could be still in the emergency room. I don't know. Anyway, she goes to the desk to ask about Rain, and the nurses start laughing at her. Girl would be immediately angry. Okay, immediately. Why are the nurses laughing when she asking about a patient? That is so inappropriate. But anyway, she gets on down to where Rain is. Child Rain is laid up, telling her that she has a bunch of blood clots. Some of them that they believe might be going close to her lungs or getting in her lungs, and she truly believes that she is going to expire. Right? She revealed that they have no doctors there, and at first she was begging Kimmy not to leave her and everything, because Kimmy was like, "I'm gonna go get some answers," whatever. She begged her not to leave. And then after a little bit of time passes, she told her to just, "Girl, go to work. I don't want you to get in trouble. Just go ahead and go to work." Kimmy was like, "No, I'm not leaving you here." And so then she tells Rain about Horace and says that he's the head of all of this and everything. And she's like, no, Rain is thinking like I'm thinking. Now, why would Horace need to go sneak into his own club if he was the head? I don't think that that's the case. So Rain was like, "No, I'm not sure that that's the thing, whatever, but whatever. Girl, just go to work and don't get in trouble." So Kimmy leaves, and guess who pulls up? The person who always pulls up. I mean, you know who. Jules with the get your tail in the car again. Okay, so at this point, he's fed up with her. He said, "I done told you too many times to stop coming up to this hospital. And when I make up my mind about something, it's made up. Get out of the car and go stand in front of that ambulance." Now the ambulance was directly in front of his car, so you know what he was asking her to do. She was like, "What?" So she started begging again. "Please, please, please, Jules, get out of the car and go stand in front of that ambulance. And you bet not move." Child, he backed up and then went full speed ahead of her. The car abruptly stops right before it gets to her. He is so upset because he's like, these freaking safety features won't even let you unalive an MF. Oh my gosh. That is not funny, but I was cracking up because he is crazy. So then he backs up. He said, "Don't let this happen. Don't come back to this thing again." So he drives off. He heads to the office. Now we are in the office. Olivia come up in this mug and she asked Mallory about whether or not her husband or any of the boys, so basically Roy or Charles, who we find out are brothers, if whether or not they were driving down the private road. So she tells her about the aunt. Now we know that now Mallory already knows about the aunt, but of course she's acting all oblivious and everything. And Olivia warns them that Norman is very much so unhinged, okay, and will knock everything in this thing over. They don't want to mess with him like that. Then we cut to the Yin Yang twins because one can get it up, obviously, and one cannot. So, AKA Roy and Charles, or should it be Charles and Roy? Um, Talking about they need to basically play nice because they in this man's will. They daddy Horace. Um, Mallory comes in, tells Roy about the aunt. Of course, they continue to insult each other. And she confronts him about, she's so insecure, but if confronts him about this girl that he was with the other day. Now, my thing is with Mallory, I'm like, girl, you don't even care. So why do you? But what she cares about is image. She don't care about these women. She don't care about Roy. But anyway, she says, "Call my wife." Immediately, his phone starts calling his wife. So he gets upset, goes to his brother, and is like, "How's this even happening?" He's like, "You have the AI on your phone. Give it here so I can turn it off." Okay, fine. They turn it off. Roy realizes at that point that Kimmy set him up and calls Jules and tells him, "You need to have her come back over to me because I want to teach her a lesson." Okay, so now we get to the board meeting and baby. Okay, so listen. First of all, Charles he continues to be the perv that he has been since we've seen him. Child, he is watching his own corn hub on his phone. Just doing the most. Okay, so looking at his own homemade videos in the meeting. Then his daddy, who he's sitting next to, snatches the phone up. Child, immediately Mallory is like, "Okay, you guys are dismissed." She dismissed the people that were non-family. And then he begins to read Horace. Uncle Horace begins to read these explicit text messages between Charles and some dude, right? Oh my gosh, everybody's at the table, eyes wide open, including their wide-eyed lawyer, Varney, who is played by Terrell Carter. And if you know anything about the Tyler Perry plays, you know exactly who Terrell Carter is because he is a singing fool. I'm surprised he didn't sing in this first episode that he's in. So yeah, he's aged really nicely, gotten kind of thick, and he's still looking nice and chocolatey and everything. But I knew when his eyes was wide, I was like, we know about you, Terrell. I mean, not Terrell. We know about you, Varney. But anyway, so then Horace, again, back to these explicit messages, he is so disgusted by these messages between two men. And I'm like, Horace, really, the hypocrisy of you being disgusted when you over here requesting Angel every chance you get. But moving on, Varney is telling them that 43 more women joined the class action suit against Beauty in Black to the tune of $1.5 billion. That's with the B, okay? And as if the meeting couldn't get any worse, child, Uncle Norman shows up, come in hollering, "Which one of you MFers ran over my wife?" And that is how episode 3 ended. I was like, oh my gosh, child. But then moving on to episode 4, It's called a family affair, and they everything but family. But anyway, in that board meeting, Norman get to cussing everybody out, child. He telling Mallory to shut the F up. He calling Roy a disgrace and also your fruitcake brother. Not just doing the most. Now, Charles, he buck up a little bit. Mama had to calm him down a little bit. Norman, and then Norman starts telling Horace that, he turns on Horace and says, this is basically all your fault. You've always tried to screw me out of half of this business. And when I beat you in court, you still won't let me live it down. But so Horace is arguing with him, but he takes every opportunity. Now he arguing with his brother, but he somehow turns it on his son, and not both of them, even though he can't stand both of them. He turns on Charles, again, disgusted by his behavior. Again, all while requesting Angel. Just anyway. Meanwhile, the lawyer's face, again, very telling. His eyes are wide open. He is like in such shock, like, oh my gosh, I can't believe what is happening. We'll find out why later on. So Norman is tearing into these two boys, saying that they ain't ish. And Horace counters with, well, where are your kids? Record scratch, okay? Now, I was thinking it would be crazy. So clearly, Horace has two kids. Um, Uncle Norman does not, even though we don't know. I feel like Jules belong to somebody. But anyway, now wouldn't it be interesting? Because later on, y'all, we find out that Aunt Olivia and Aunt Norman used to mess around. Talk about she the religious lady, she the Christian lady talking about, and she the wife that the brother laid with. Anyway, moving on. Wouldn't it be crazy if one or both of her kids was actually Norman's and not Horace's? Okay, all I'm saying. Okay, so Norman said, all I'm saying is, he said, if his wife dies, then he gonna burn this sucker down. Okay? Now we're still in the office, but the meeting is basically over. Olivia warns Horace that Norman knows everything and that he is dangerous. Now Norman is leaving. Jules follows him. And again, here we go again. Jules playing back and forth to these people. And he's trying to calm down Norman and says, hey, don't worry. We're going to take care of this. Going to take care of this. Now here go. And then also Charles comes out behind them. Jules says something to Charles. Charles makes some kind of insinuation about something. I don't know. Somehow Calvin, who will be introduced to in just a few seconds, Calvin, who is Mallory's driver, inserts himself in this conversation, to which Jules had to check him and said not to question him. Don't talk when I'm talking, basically. Now, Olivia warns Charles, child, it is dangerous to be out here tempting your uncle. That fool is unhinged. You don't know about him. She was begging him to stay with her, and he drives off in his yellow Lambo. He decided, okay, I'll just stay in the hotel, whatever. Now, Varney gives Mallory back at the office in the boardroom. Varney, the lawyer, gives Mallory the lowdown on that the lawsuit basically could bankrupt the whole business. And so she's like, okay, well, let's see how we can take care of this. And then she begins to proposition him, ask them if they could meet for a drink, to which he does. He obliged her in terms of the drink, right? We'll get back to that later. Now, back at the motel, Kimmy is there. And child, why did she get a call from her mama? Anyway, trifling mama, who was asking her for more money for her and Frank, the boyfriend that used to touch her. Anyway, girl, I wish I would. I wish I would send you anything. When she said more money, I was like, girl, you was sending her money? Now I can understand if you were sending money for your little sister, but baby, no, I'm not sending your mama, that boyfriend, nothing. Those people harmed you. Like, why would you do that? But anyway, she was like, okay, well, I'll see what I can do, mom, whatever. She says, I love you. What, her mama didn't say I love you back? She said, and hung up. Oh, girl, absolutely not. Anyway, so then Angel shows up with info on Horace. He basically wants to rob Horace. He was like, we need to take him, whatever. You know how much that watch was worth? It was worth $1.2 million. Let's put together a plan. And not Rain, but Kimmy's like, boy, no, we're not doing this. We're not doing this. So then we're back at the hospital. So Olivia goes to see Norman about his wife and see how he's doing, whatever. This is where it's revealed that they used to mess around. And Uncle Norma states that basically, like, yeah, this broke my wife's heart when she found out that we were messing around at one point or whatever. She wouldn't even want you to be here. And Uncle Aunt Olivia was like, I understand, she was being real cool and told him, I just don't want you to hurt my boys. I want you to think about this. And he was like, well, I can have them taken out. So she hands him an envelope and said, I really, really didn't want to have to do this. But baby, I know about all the trafficking and the money laundering that you're doing about that club. And if you don't leave my boys alone, I'm going to have to turn you over to the authorities. Now, I'm trying to be a God-fearing woman, but you're trying to make me the bitch I used to be. She come out like that. He said, basically, like, I don't give a damn. Well, she was like, you don't give a damn. I don't give a. Okay, because you better leave my boys alone. I'm not going to tell you again. And it's the last time I'm going to have a conversation with you. Leave my boys alone or it's on. And she exited stage right. Okay, so now we back at the hotel. Oh my gosh. So this is where we are introduced to the most annoying couple on the show, Jillian and Calvin. Jillian is Mallory's personal assistant and Calvin is her driver. They are so annoying. And Jillian's voice is more annoying than anything. But part of me is thinking too, like, are they also in servitude? Because the way that they get treated, like they have an apartment that's above, it's a little basement apartment above the estate or whatever. I don't know. The way that they get talked to and the way they get treated, it makes me think that they're also indebted to Jules in some way. So anyway, Mallory asks Varney about the company, right? Now they're at dinner, supposed to be having these drinks, and blurts out, do you want to F me? He is like, what is going on? His eyes get big. He turns her down. He tries to leave. She was like, oh no, you're not about to reject me and then turn around and leave. I'm going to leave. You're going to sit here and you're going to pay for the dinner, whatever. So she gets up and she leaves. She walks past Jillian and tells her to find her own ride and said, come on, Calvin. Goes in the car with Calvin, let him drive a little bit, told him to stop, pull over, and get in the back. To which they started doing the do. And then come to see that Jillian pulled up in some car behind them just to see what was going on. And then she finally drives off. Anyway, they're annoying. I don't like either one of those characters. Moving on. So we get to the club, and of course, Kimmy is late again, child. Body talking ish again and lying about why Rain was actually at the hospital to some girl, all while trying to get this same girl, another girl, under Dagger's knife, trying to tell her about this BBL. Now, Body and Delinda are also cracking up about the girl's debts and making all kinds of child. This is where we find out that supposedly, allegedly, that Kimmy owes Jules $237,000 and Rain owes him about $400,000. Anyway, so Kimmy has another VIP, same person, of course. It's Horace. She gives him the watch back. He kept asking her, like, what's going on? What's wrong with you? What's wrong with you? What's wrong with you? Now, at this point, he didn't ask you 10 times. I'm like, girl, why don't you just tell him what you think? She thinks that he is head of this ring, that he's the reason why she is in this servitude role, why she is trapped basically at this club. He's getting ready to go. He's like, okay, I don't know what's wrong with you, but I'm about to leave. He spots his son Charles out there and was like, oh my gosh, I can't let him see me here. But he wants, and not only was Charles there, Charles was out there talking to Angel. So Horace gets all possessive, telling us, I want him to stop talking to Angel, to tell him to stop. So Kimmy goes out there, tells him to stop talking to Angel, whatever. They meet up at the motel again, the three of them. And Angel begins to dance for Horace, right? Child Horace started coughing up blood. The blood got on him, on Angel. Oh my gosh. Angel has a fit, runs to go wash himself. Are you contagious? He's like, no, I'm not contagious. I just want you to dance for me. He actually came back and danced for him. Child, once the bodily fluids hit me, I'd have been like, done. But he continued to dance for him and then whatever, moving on. So then Mallory gets home and Jillian is waiting. She completely dismisses her. And then Calvin comes right behind Mallory and dismisses her as well. Jillian is such a weirdo. Her voice is so annoying. She seems really creepy. But she was begging Calvin basically to like talk to her and be with her and blah 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 blah. Like, girl, have some kind of pride about yourself. Have some dignity. Like, ew. Anyway, they're done. I'm done with them. They get on my nerves. Anyway, the last scene was Kimmy was back. Y'all, why was she back at the hospital again? She goes to see Rain, and Rain is not there. And she yells out like, "Oh my gosh, where is she?" Child, the woman in the bed next to her was like, she died. And that is how it ended. Child, oh my goodness. We in for a ride, and you could tell that Uncle Norman is a firecracker. So please let us discuss this. Make sure you discuss out in the comments, and don't forget to like, share, comment, and subscribe. And then also just want to let you know that today uh at 1 p.m. Eastern, I will be doing a live discussion of episode 3 along with Vacay JTV and friends. That'll be Monique 69 Ways Johnson, the Lawrence Report, and some other friends. So please join me here. I'll be live streaming, and we can chat live about these crazy episodes. Okay, thanks again, and have a great one. Bye.